So I'm going to do today just a quick kind of neutral eye look with nice dewy skin, because that's my kind of go-to look. So I'm just first of all popping a little bit of the Vive eye wand in the colour Sand as a base for my eye and something for my eyeshadow to stick to. And we'll go through what brushes I'm using and what products I'm using. So you can see I've applied that over my eyelid and just above the crease. I'm now popping on some of the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Eye Base, just so that has a chance to settle in into my skin underneath the eye area before I do anything with any makeup products there. So I'm going to use the, this is the Colourpop, it's a mood palette, and I'm going to use the shade Bonafide, which is this one here, and the number 11 brush from Spectrum and Katie collab. And I'm just going to take this over the colour that I've already put down, but above the crease. So this is going to be like my transition shade, and it's a nice soft colour that's just a little bit, got a little bit more colour to it than my natural skin in that area. And we'll just blend that in. This is a really good brush for this kind of application, I think. And you'll see I've made sure that I've gone right into that inner corner there, because I am naturally quite dark in that corner. So I think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use this quite soft shade here. This one is called, I shall just tell you, it's called Everywhere. And I'm going to use this brush, which is the number 18 from Spectrum and Katie. And with this one, what I want to do is I'm going to add a little bit of a natural shadow back in here, because I do naturally get, I have like a little kind of line that comes in there from the inner corner of my nose. And so I'm just going to honour where that would naturally have a little shadow there. Then with the colour Midnight Run and the number 13 brush, Midnight Run is just a deeper sort of taupe colour. I'm just going to tap that above where my natural fold is, because I've got quite hooded eyes. So I want to make sure that I can see it when my eyes are relaxed. And then I'll just wiggle that into the crease, just for a bit of a more cohesive look. Now that I've taken that kind of all over the upper area that I wanted to, I'm going to go back in with that original colour, the Bonafide, on that same brush that I used originally, and just soften the edges of that, just so that things blend a little bit better and I don't have any too sort of harsh lines. There's a really pretty shimmery colour in this palette called Full Circle. Now, to me, it looks kind of like a rose gold, but it's reading a bit more sort of coppery in the camera. And I'm just going to pat that onto my mobile lid just for a little bit of shimmer and make it a little bit more interesting. Definitely easier using your finger with these kind of finishes, because you do get more payoff, whereas with a brush you get a very soft wash and you maybe don't get that impact of the shimmer or the metallic that you're looking for. Now I'm going in excuse me, with the shade called Reunion on this little brush, which is the number 14 from Spectrum. And I'm using this brush even though it's a shimmer, because I want to take it right into this corner here, and my fingers just will end up putting it in places that I don't want it. This is a really soft kind of champagne-y shell pink tone, and I just want to put that in there just to brighten up that inner corner. And then what I'll also do is I will pop a little bit on my finger, and I'm just going to pat that up above my crease. Moving on to my complexion, and I will come back to my eyes once I've done this. I'm using the KGH 08 with some of the MAC Face and Body Foundation. I just popped some on the back of my hand and worked it into the brush, and I'm just going to skim that over my face, bring down some of that redness, and I will go in with some concealer and corrector also, but I'm going to try it putting that on after my foundation so that I can see where I still need that a little bit of extra coverage without going too heavy. Okay, we'll leave it at that for now, and we'll see what happens with a bit of corrector and concealer. So I'm using the Bobbi Brown corrector in the shade Light Bisque, and I'm just going in with this small Spectrum KGH brush. This is the number 20, I think that says. And I'm just using this just to get a bit more of a precise placement, because obviously I have already put some eyeshadow into that corner and I don't want to undo that. So I'll just pop some on here, and then I'll blend it in with my finger, because obviously your finger's nice and warm and it just helps to melt it into your skin a bit more, and it just helps to brighten up that whole area. For an extra bit of coverage, I've gone in with the Bobbi Brown Instant Full Cover Concealer. I'm using the shade, what shade am I using? Sand. And I'm just going to go back in with the same brush that I used for my foundation, just to blend that out where I just needed a little bit of extra coverage, or more to the point where I wanted a little bit of extra coverage, because we don't need it, we just do what we want to make ourselves feel more comfortable in our own skin. There are no rules. So I'm just giving that a nice light blend in, and yeah, just get that little bit of extra coverage where I want it. Now that I've done my complexion, I'm going to go back in and do the underneath area of my eye using that same shadow that I used above the crease, which was Midnight Run, and I'm just using the same brush just to get a little bit of shading underneath the eye, and then I'll blend that out with the same shadow that I used up in the brow bone area as my transition shade, just to soften that down. But what I really love about these kind of colours is it really brings out the blue in my eyes. Actually, I changed my mind. Instead of going with that really light shade, I've gone with the shade Everywhere, which was the one that I put into that sort of little natural shadow line, just to soften the darkest shade without going too light. Otherwise it just dilutes it too much and makes it a bit insipid, really. Just adding a little bit at a time till I get to the point that I'm happy with. Now I think I'd like to add a little bit of a kind of fox wing. So I'm going to use this brush, which is the 23 brush from the Spectrum KGH. It's the one with the spoolie on the end and the really tiny angled brush on the other end. So I'm going into this really dark shade called Our Deal, again in the same eyeshadow palette as before, and I'm going to try not to mess this up. So I'm just going to take a little line and make it into kind of a little triangle on that hooded area of my eye, just to add a little winged feature. And I would say if you're going to do something like this, especially with the powder, make sure you've tapped off any of the excess powder so it doesn't fall onto your face. And use your pinky as a bit of an anchor to steady your hand, just to try to make sure that you don't move around too much. And it's only just a tiny little extra feature, but I quite like that it just adds that bit of extra depth to it. And then what I'll do is I will bring that same shadow down to the corner down here just to join that up. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that so as I don't mess it up. And I'm just going to go in now with some of the Spectrum Collection's Dark Matter mascara. I love the wand on this. Just a nice, simple black mascara. And a good thing is, if you want to build it up, make sure you let the first coat dry before you go in with the second coat, and you'll get a much better result. Otherwise, you'll find that it's just not building. Uh-oh, made a mistake. But I'll deal with that when it's dried. So while I wait for this little bit of mascara to dry, I'm going to put on some bronzer, and I'm going to use the Nabla skin bronzing called Soft Revenge, and I'm using the 01 brush from Spectrum and KJH. And I'm just going to apply this onto the actual cheekbone, but the kind of lower part of it, if you like, just so that it's a bit of a bronzing effect. I'm not really going for a contouring, just wanting to warm up the face with a nice bronzy glow. I really, really love these Nabla products, the skin bronzing and the skin glazing, I think the blushers are called. They are absolutely beautiful. And like with everything, you kind of put them away and then forget about them, and then you have to remember to bring them back out to play. So let's go in with one of their blushers. So this is the Skin Glazing in the shade Lola, and I'm just going to use this same brush because I'm just going to do a very light kind of dust of it onto the cheekbone area where I've already applied the bronzer, just to add a soft pop of colour there. Just love this one. Okay, now that mascara has well and truly dried, I'm just going to gently flick it off with this clean spoolie, and hey presto, it's gone. Easy as that. I'm just adding a little hint of that blusher onto my eye because the pink from this, I think, will just work really well with the natural tones that I've got on my eye already, and just help to maybe bring it in a little bit more with what I've put on my cheek. And it's just such a pretty colour. Right, I'm going to pop a little bit of highlighter on now. This is the Dior Couture Luminizer in Pink Glow. Just dusting a little bit of that on with this amazing Lara Faye F01 fan brush. Look at that. What a glow. And then we'll finish off with a bit of lipstick. Okay, Vive Modern Lip Definer in the colour Bewitched. Love this. Such an easy to use liner. And then I'm going in with the Vive lipstick in the colour Promise. I love it. And then I just have to, the Vive Lip Dew just adds that bit of, not only does it smell amazing, it looks delicious. just tapping that on into the centre. Oh, look at it. It is the most beautiful, call it a gloss if you want, but it is, oh, it just brings your lipstick to life. I love it. And that's the look, guys. So, I mean, these brushes were instrumental in helping to bring this look together. This is just a kind of everyday type of natural, easy wear look for me. It might not be for you, but it is for me. I just love the natural, neutral tones. And with blue eyes, they really help to make the blue pop. What do you think? I really like it. Have a great day, whatever you're doing.